Good evening, Carl's Conversations. Welcome in, welcome in. For those of you who are coming in tonight, I want to welcome you to the Mancave Ministry. That's right. This is the first episode of Mancave Ministry. It is a series that we're going to run on Carl's Conversations. And unlike most man caves we build and we really don't want the women in. You know, it's not that we don't like you. We love you, but we just want a place for ourselves. But this man cave, we welcome in the sisters because there's some things that the brothers are going to share that are, it's not just good for the brothers, but it's good for the sisters to know too. So come on in with us. Let somebody know you want to go ahead and share this video, start a watch party. Let your friends and family know that Carl's Conversations is on, and this is the initial episode of Man Cave Ministry. We have none other than author, public servant, community leader, Josh King. He is a tremendous man, law enforcement officer, all around good guy. And for all of y'all who don't know, he is the husband to Delegate Candy King. He has written a book. And tonight, Josh King is going to blow your socks off. How to run. He's run for public office. And he's going to share some things with us that we may not know. We always talk about politicians and what they do and don't do. But maybe we can get in and start running for office, hold those offices, then we can do what we know is good and right. And already we have some greetings. My number one fan, my wife, Tisha Armstrong, she's saying good evening. Amen. And also Sylvia Chapman. Good evening, Sylvia. Good evening, sweetheart Tisha. Welcome aboard, everybody. Like I said, you got a few moments now. Make sure you start a watch party. Make sure you share. Let people know Carl's Conversations is on. And let those people know who don't have YouTube. They can also catch us on, if they don't have Facebook, they can catch us on YouTube. On YouTube, Carl's Conversations, just like you see it spelled, and my name tag there, all one word. If you use two words, you're going to go to a different Carl's Conversations. He's not me. If you use that one word just like that, you'll go to my channel, and we are broadcasting live to that YouTube channel tonight, along with this broadcast on Facebook, also broadcasting to my personal channel. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome, Mr. Josh King. How you doing this evening, sir?
I'll say it, sir. I'm just glad to be here. Get through all this snow today. Man, they said it was coming. It's coming.
Yeah, wow. It is here.
So y'all don't know, it's code red again for Prince William tomorrow. They closed today for schools. They closed again tomorrow. So, hey, what's a snow day? We're already home.
That's right. That's right. Look, he breaking news here. Code red, Prince William County. Amen. Josh, I want you to tell the audience a little bit about yourself as we get started here.
Absolutely. First off, I want to thank God for giving me the opportunity to be here. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. But it is Black History Month. Before I start talking about me, let me pay some respect to some people I respect. So I'm going to start right here with a book that I'm reading right here, The Sword and the Shield. So you can see this book right here. It's about Malcolm and Martin. And it's the revolutionary lives of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King by Pennell Joseph. Will drop in the chat so you guys can get that. So it's for the fellas and for the ladies. Oh, this is a Valentine's Day for my wife now. The Three Mothers. Both of these are hot off the press. These are good books here. And these are the mothers of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and James Baldwin. As how the mothers of them shaped the nation by Anna Malika Tubbs. It's another one here. So make sure I get those. So now we got past that. A little bit about me. I ran for office a couple of times. In 2015, I got my start, and I ran for delegate. And one of the reasons why I got in office is because back then, Virginia was not, the House of Delegates and Senate was not controlled by Democrats. And there's a lot of issues that only your lawmakers can make. So one thing we'll talk about tonight is when you run for office or choose office you run for, you have to look at your issues and then choose an office that can affect that issue. So one of my issues was special needs education and funding and stuff for that. And that's one of the reasons why I got into that race. So that's all where I started in 2015. I didn't win that race. I lost by 125 votes. But for me, the race wasn't about me. It was about getting the message out, about spreading awareness and letting people know that, hey, this is what's going on. We need to do something about it. I ran again in 2017. I got primary, lost by 12 votes in 2017. And I'm going to tell you something about voting. When you run into somebody and they tell you that your vote doesn't count, remind them of me. 12 votes. That's a church van. Okay. Every vote counts. Every vote counts. We'll talk about that more. And most recently in 2019, I ran for sheriff of Prince William County. Ran an amazing race, got a lot of support. I came in, I didn't win that race, but I came very, very close. And for the first time, I was the first Democrat to run for sheriff in Prince William County in like 20 years. The guy had been running unopposed. And we're going to talk about that tonight. You guys, especially in Stafford, these people have been on the board for a long time. Some of them are running unopposed every year, just winning, and we're not going to give them nothing. Okay, I want you guys to go out there and run and make them people work. It's a little bit about my political career. So in my personal life, I'm in a labor union. I'm a law enforcement officer. I'm a father, a husband. I have a child with special needs, and we've been working really hard to support children and adults with special needs because they need us, and that's why I'm here. The last thing I'll just speak on briefly is I wrote this book called Run, A Road Less Traveled. We're going to talk about it tonight. We're going to go over the chapters, and we'll talk a little bit about how to run for office and what we got to do.
All right. For those of you who did not know before, you know a little bit of something about Josh King. And so we're going to get into this book that he has written. I'm very excited to get into this. He's going to share his personal story, his personal journey about what it was to run for office. And there are so many nuggets in what he's about to share. I'm almost itching with excitement. So Josh, tell us about running for public office. I'm sure there's so many nooks and crannies that the average person has no idea about. And I want the audience to walk away tonight having a way better idea of what that's like and, what's required for that.
Sure. So we're going to use this book. It's called, again, Run, A Road Less Traveled. And we're going to go through some of the trials and tribulations I went through, some of the things that you will go through when you go through. And listen, it's not rocket science, okay? It's scientific method. We're going to go through it, and we're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to talk about the book. We're going to answer some questions and just go over some stuff. The first time I ran for office, I ran a short run. It was a special election, and I ran for 3 months, and it was like this rush. People coming in, people supporting me, and just going for it. And it's a rush. It's lots of time invested, and you meet a lot of people along the way. But there's a lot of things you got to do and a lot of responsibilities that you don't know when you get thrown in. So one of the reasons why I wrote this book is to prepare you so you don't have to be scrambling like I was the first time. So I'm going to just start with the back of the book. Every time you find a book, the first thing you do is you look on the back. So the first thing it says on the back of the book, it says, politics is not a spectator sport. Okay? So I'm going to just read what I wrote on the back. It said, if you want change, this book will get you from the back of the bus to the driver's seat. If you're tired of complaining about your locally elected public officials and you want to make a difference, this book is for you. You will learn what it takes to get on the ballot, what your local party can do for you, and some valuable information on fundraising and speech development. Now is the time to come from behind the curtains and become the change you want to see. Politicians waste too much time bickering and not enough time working together to solve our issues. So that's kind of the premise of the book. some things you're gonna see. So let me talk to you a minute about why I titled the book "Run." I titled the book "Run: A Road Less Traveled." Now, this first part is a most important part, I think. Run is what they call it when you run for office. I call it a road less traveled because many people do not run for office. And in this book, I talk a little bit about the reason why. One of the big reasons why people don't run for office because they're missing the greatest commodity that they don't have, and it's time. They don't have the time. They don't know how. They don't have the time, and so what happens when you have people that don't have the time? You wind up with the same type of politicians year after year. So who are these politicians? So they are lawyers, business owners, or independently wealthy people. Now, my question is, what do all three of these have in common? They control their time. Okay, that's what's important. They have the time to go. They can control the schedule. The regular working class person, they're working dollars for hours. They have to show up for work. And not only that, after you win, you have to serve. Now, what type of job is going to let you off if it's a part-time job? Because all the jobs in politics aren't full-time. Some of them are part-time. They're part-time jobs with full-time responsibilities. And that is what discourages people from running for office. So that's how I opened this book. That's how I just want to let people know that it is a time commitment. And being a parent with 3 kids, working full time, at the time I was going to George Mason. I was at LA my senior year. So I'm a veteran, so I used my GI Bill. I was in school at the time. And so I'm doing everything at the same time. I'm like, well, how can I do it? The grace of God. I don't know. But I did it. And, I was able to do it because I have a very supportive wife. Candy, shout out to Miss Monday King. Wherever you watch, she's probably downstairs cooking. But yeah, so that's kind of why I wrote this book. One other reason why I wrote this book is because I went to school for this stuff. Okay, I went through political schools. They have a political school here in Virginia called Sorensen Institute. Okay, now this is an institute where they put you on this plantation home. They send you out in the middle of the woods, and they put you up for one program. It's for 4 days, which I did the 4-day one on the weekend for 4 days, and they put you in this big mansion house, whatever, with Democrats and Republicans, all of us in one house, and they train us. Now, how do you get into that school? You need someone to vouch for you, and you have to pay, or you can get vouchers. And people don't know about this school. Now, everybody who graduated from that class with me, all of us ran for office. Most of us won, but all of us have ran for office. This thing is to prepare you for that. There are other programs now, also like Emerge for women and different stuff in different groups. But I said, look, why are people going to pay for what I can give them for free? I wrote this book for the general public so people can have access to this stuff. You don't got to go to George Mason. You don't have to go to Sorensen to get this information because you're going to do the same thing. The same thing. So we're gonna get into that.
Well, Josh, let me ask you something.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure somebody in the audience wants to know this. How did you know that it was time for you to run for office? I know you're going to give us some inside information, but how did you know it was time? It's time for me to get some training, and it's time for me to run.
Well, so my story is a little different. I served in Iraq. I did 2 tours of Iraq. And while I was in Iraq, I made a promise to God. I said, listen, if you bring me home, when I get home, I'm going to be a good parent, a good public servant, a good father, a husband, everything. Like, I'm going to do everything right if you get me home. Well, I'm here. So because of that, I've dedicated my life to public service. So I always knew I wanted to get into politics, and I know where I want to end, but I needed the beginning. So when an opportunity came for me to do it, I was like, this is what I prayed for. So I knew that it was obvious, it was time. And another thing, I felt like at that time I was 30 years old, 35. I was young. I'm almost 40 now. Time just goes by. Um, I felt like people who I admire, like Malcolm and Martin Luther King, they died young and they were fighting. And I said, my parents fought for us, and now I'm the parent, and it's time for me to fight for my children. We have to keep it going because, as you know, everything that can be done can be undone
That's right.
via the first and second civil rights acts. There's some people who only know that was the first one. They don't know about the second, but it's Black history. We're gonna give you some culture tonight for some people. Anyway, but yeah, that's how I knew. I knew it was time. I prayed about it, and my faith kind of drove me the way, and that's why we're still here. Doing what we do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm excited for you to get into this book and teach us something about running for office. I'm all ears.
All right. So let's have some fun. If you guys have questions, let me know. So we're gonna go through these chapters. It's only 8 chapters. Now this book is very short. Now let me tell you something. You know how you read a book and it has 5 main points, but then they give you all this fluff. You gotta read like 13, 18 chapters to get these 5 points. So I intentionally wrote this book short. So each chapter may only be 4 pages, but in the text, you're going to get everything you need. I took it's just the meat and potatoes. This is an instruction guide, and for you college folks, it's a 101. It's going to get you in the door, just enough to get you in trouble. But before we get into the book, I want to talk about a couple things. Number one, you guys heard from Victor Angry yesterday. And Victor Angry was the first African American on the county board of supervisors, had a special election. But that wasn't the only historical thing that happened that year, because I was on that ticket later that year. We did what needs to be done everywhere, especially in Stafford County and other places. We ran all 34 seats at one time. We didn't think we was going to win all of them, but we won most of them. And he was the first, but he won the last. We got the majority of the board is people of color. And this happened because we made them work. Okay? You don't give nothing away for free. And people have been running unopposed for years. Even the sheriff that I ran against, unopposed. And we're not going to let them have it. We just have to encourage people, promote people, help people learn. And maybe you don't win the first time. The second time, but you're going to make them work. You don't give them nothing. So let's go through. We'll talk about the chapter. So the first chapter is going to be on political ideologies. This book is not politically charged. It talks about, Democrats, Republicans, and radicals. And it just talks about the founders. And so anybody can use this book. So if you don't want to be a Democrat, you don't have to be. You want to be independent, you can use this book the same way. Chapter 2. It's going to be talking about choosing your office. We're going to go into that. Chapter 3, getting on the ballot. What forms you got to fill out, stuff you got to do, a little informational stuff. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on that. Number 4, developing your message. Very important. Number 5, chapter 5, identifying your base. Chapter 6, local parties. Chapter 7, fundraising. And chapter 8, my favorite chapter, I call it making it happen. This you putting it all together. You're putting it all together. This is what you're going to do day to day, month to month, call to call, and just wrapping it all together. So let's jump right in to let's go to chapter 2. And we'll go over on here. And let's see where we're going to go. Here. So when you decide that you want to run for office, you have to decide which office. So the best way to decide which office you want to run for is you have to look at your issues. If your issues are school-based, then you might want to run for school board. If it's a law that needs to be passed, you might want to run for a Senate, governor, or a higher state office. But you have to look at your issues and decide what's the appropriate venue for you, because that's where your passion is going to be. And this goes also if you don't want to run for office, but you want to complain, you need to complain to the right person. Okay, don't be calling, your local mayor or combo supervisors for a school board leadership. Like, well, ain't nothing I can do. In Virginia, we had this rule called the Dillon Rule. So people don't know, but basically it says that all the powers for that position lies with them. So, the sheriff can't tell the county board supervisor what to do. Mayor can't tell somebody else what to do. Everybody has their own powers, and they can only do what they can do. So that's what's important about that. Um, Secondly, in this chapter, we're going to talk about uh, when to run for your office. Uh, we're going to talk about what we call election cycles. I don't know if anyone is honest knows that there is an election every year in Virginia. Most people don't know that. And when I say every year, I mean every year. Now, I have an updated one that I downloaded off the elections website. I'm just going to let you know what's running this year and what's running next year. So let me just pull that up really quick, and I will let you know, because people don't know. They just go out and vote for the president, and they go sit home for 4 years. No, 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 no. If you never voted for the president, but you vote for these local offices, I guarantee that your life will be better, because these are the people who manage your taxes and your roads and your schools, your children's books, all that stuff. So let's see here. See if I can pull this up. Should have printed this thing out. Let me see if I can open it.
That is amazing. I don't think that most people actually know that every year in Virginia, we're going to be voting for something to somebody. But, I agree with what you're saying. My father's been telling us for years, you got to vote for the dog catcher. And I never understood what he meant. But, as I aged and grew, he was saying you got to be involved, just like you said, even on the local level. That's where it happens.
Absolutely. So let's go into, May 4th, there's a town council election in Vienna. November 2nd this year, there's going to be the governor, the lieutenant governor, the attorney general, the House of Delegates, which has 100 seats. Then you have 4 cities have a Commonwealth attorney and a commissioner of revenue. You got board of supervisors for 60 other counties have that. City council, city school board, town council, city town mayor, and that's this year. Now, that's not everywhere, so you got to know, because there's a cycle, so you got to know when is what, because it says there's a sheriff race, but see, I ran mine in 2019 for Prince William County. The next sheriff race won't be till 2023, so you got to look at the website, and you can find this on elections.va.gov, schedule of general elections. Now, just to give you a contrast of next year, so we get the governor, get to all that this year, but then next year, 2022, May 3rd, city council, 16 cities. City school board, 11 cities. Town council, 102 towns are up next year. And the mayor seat is up. You got the U.S. Representatives are up, 11 of those seats for 2-year terms. A county board, supervisor, city council, town council, all the stuff. So people don't know. And I can go on and on. What's going on next year? What's going on next year? It's every year. So people get fatigued. And people don't know, and they just go sit home. And when you wonder, how did these people get these raises at 11 o'clock? Because you didn't vote for the last 3 years. And why haven't this changed? Well, did you vote last time? Well, no, I didn't. I didn't even know there's an election. And the reason why you don't know that there's an election every year is because you know what happens in presidential year. You see commercials, you hear radio, you hear all this. Well, these local races don't have 30, 40 grand a week to put on the radio or on TV, so you won't see it. The newspapers don't print it like they should. They put it in there, but a lot of people don't read it, and it costs money for ads and stuff like that. So you won't see all these signs and stuff up because of the money. And we'll talk about that in another section later today. But that's what's important that people know. So, when you want to run for school board, when can you run so you can prepare? Because the race doesn't start that year; it starts the year before. We'll get into that later. Now, let's go on to chapter 3. Getting on the ballot. So now that you chose the office that you want to run for, there's a couple things you got to know. If you and we'll take this year for example. if you want to run for office this year, you have until March. I don't know. It's a schedule. I think it's March 30th or something by 5 p.m. to put your name on the ballot. This ballot is for what they call a primary. Primary is when someone from your same party is running for the same office, and you have to, fight for that seat to be the nominee for November. So this year will be March. So when it happens, a couple things you have to do. So the first thing you have to do is file this form called Statement of Organization, and use that statement. And all these forms be found on elections.va.gov. And the forms are there. They have a candidate bulletin, which gives you all the rules, everything you have to do, the dates, everything is right there for you. All you do is read it. It's right there. So here's a couple things. And I'll say this is controversial for me. You have to pay to get on the ballot. It's called a primary filing fee. Now, this fee will be generally 2% of the salary for the office sought. So for House of Delegates, it would be maybe $358. For me, when I ran for sheriff, it was like $4,000. So this filing fee, to me, I feel like it's a poll tax. They say they use the money for for the elections. It costs to have the people to work, and I understand what it's for. But this is another tool that pushes people away for not running because they can't raise the money or whatever to get on the ballot. But that's another class for another day. But that's what you have to do. You have to pay a filing fee. So you have to complete a couple more forms. So that's the first form you do. You take it to the bank, get your bank account open, pay the filing fee. And you have to fill out a form called a Declaration of Candidacy form. You fill that out, and you turn that in with your primary filing fee and another form called a what's the name of that form here? It's a petition of qualified voters. So what's happening right now, you might see drives out or people out now getting signatures. Once you declare, starting January 1 of every year, you will get this petition of qualified voters. And you have to get a certain amount of signatures on this petition so you can get on the ballot. Now, generally, for some of the smaller offices, is about 125. These forms are printed front and back, and it's just basic information. It is their name, the house. They ask for your social. You don't have to put it. You sign it and date it. So you will see people now getting those signatures because they need them for the file for the primary, which this year, and this is very important, I think it's June 8th, is the primary, for all the races. And I'll tell you some more about those races later. But that is what that is for. Now, remember, signing this petition of qualified voters is not you voting for them. It's just allowing them to get on the ballot. Now, the people who signed that ballot for that candidate, they have to live in that district. Okay. So if you live in Hartwood, in your Hartwood district or whatever, you have to sign for your supervisor or the person you want to be the supervisor, but you can't sign for someone else. Now, the only exclusion of that if someone's running statewide, like for governor, lieutenant governor, Commonwealth, or Congress or Senate, where you can sign on those. But other than that, they have to be, and you have to be a registered voter and not a felon to sign that. So you need that. All right. So once you got your primary filing fee, you got your SOO, your statement of organization, you filed that, open your bank account, do all the other stuff, and you got your petitions with 125. Now, I advise you don't get 125, get double, because some people won't sign it or won't fill out correctly or didn't update their voter registration because they moved or something like that, and they'll be disqualified. Because what happens with those petitions, someone has to go in, the party is going to they're going to cross-check and make sure these people are registered voters. So you can be disqualified by technicality, okay? And you have to turn in by 5 o'clock on that last date, or you'll be disqualified. All right, so let's move on. Now, I have on page 18 in the book, I'm just going to read you the steps really quick, and we'll go to the next chapter. If you have any questions about this chapter, just let me know. So one step you have to do, you have to file for EIN, with the IRS, get a PO box. You have to get a declaration of candidacy form, a statement of organization. You need to pick a treasurer. Okay, you got to get a treasurer. Get your bank account. Get your certificate of certificate of candidate qualifications. You get your certified petitions and pay your primary filing fee. So those are the steps. Some things you got to do. If you have questions, just you can shoot me a text, give me a call, shoot me an email. We can talk about it more if you need help doing that. I've helped many people run for office over the years, and it's my pleasure to help you. All right. So, if there's any questions on anything that I said, please let me know. Any questions?
So far, no questions from the audience.
Okay. All right.
All right.
We'll keep moving through. We'll go on to chapter 4, developing your message. Now, your message is going to be the bread and butter of your campaign. Okay. The first question most people are going to ask you who are politically sound, they're going to ask you the question, why are you running? Okay, you're going to hear that, and you have to answer that question. And most of the times, 30 to 60 seconds. People are going to ask you this all the time, and you need to be confident on what you say. But how do you condense everything you have down to 30 to 60 seconds? It's hard. It's something you have to do, but you have to do it because you're going to use this speech in several places. One place you're going to use it, and we're not doing it right now, we knock on doors to talk to voters. Now think about this. It's Saturday night, Saturday evening. You're having a cookout. You're drinking maybe, watching basketball or whatever. And all you hear is ding dong. Someone comes to your door you don't know. They got a suit on, they may have a shirt, they got some papers in their hand. You think they might be trying to say something. How much time do they have of yours? All right, you ready to get back to your game. How much time they got? 30 to 60 seconds.
Not much.
If you answer the door, right? Some people, they got the ring now. They'll talk to you through the ring, right? So you gotta go in, get get out. So let's get into developing your message really quick.
One second, Josh. There's a couple of questions.
Oh, sure, please.
Okay, Tisha's asking, does it require you to have a DUNS number, opening that account, and also an EIN with the IRS? Are these things required?
An EIN is what's required, and you're filing as I'm going to tell you exactly, and this is in the book. It is EIN, and you tell the bank teller that you are a 521 political nonprofit, okay, and that you are unincorporated, okay. So that's the terminology when you go and tell them. But that's what you need.
Wonderful.
All right.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
No, that was Desiree wanted you to know she has no questions, but she's
okay.
Listening closely.
Hey, thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. All right, so let's talk about the message, right? So first thing, you have to be short and direct. You don't have a lot of time. I told you, they cooking out or they're about to leave. It's summertime. They're ready to go. You have to be truthful and credible, okay? So make sure you don't talk about things that you don't know about, even though you may know a little bit. Just stick to your strengths, because people know. They can smell. They can smell when you don't know what you're talking about. You got to be persuasive and make sure you're talking about something that may be important to them. And the last thing in your speech, you have to show some contrast between you and your opponent. So you're going to do all this to answer the question why you're running for office. So in the book, it talks about the speech. The speech is called a stump speech. They call it a stump speech, I guess, because you're on somebody's, and some people, depending on where you're from, call it a stoop. You're on somebody's steps, and you're trying to talk to them. But so there's a couple of parts to this thing. your speech. You're going to just start writing it. You're going to write your introduction. In your introduction, you're going to talk about your name, what affiliations you have, and who you are and what office you're running for. So for me, I give you an example of the book said, my name is Josh King. I'm an Army veteran, a deputy sheriff, and a community leader, and I'm running to be your next whatever, right? That's really quick. Then you go tell them why you're running. I'm running because our schools are overcrowded, our kids can't get a world-class education, whatever it is, get that out. And then the next thing you can do, this is if they give you 30 seconds, now you're working at 60, you don't want to go longer, to add your compelling story. So something that happened to you that compelled you to run for office, something that your passion. And it don't always have to be something negative, right? But for me, one reason why I got into public office is because my daughter, who has special needs, she has autism, she went a whole entire school year without a teacher in Prince William County. People say, what? How did that happen? We got teachers everywhere. No, people didn't know. And part of my message was letting people know, not only did she not have a teacher, they had 2 teachers aides teaching the whole class, because special needs class have maybe 6, 7 people in there, and they taught them because they could not hire or retain special needs teachers because of the turnover and the low pay. So that was part of my compelling story when I started many years ago. And the last piece of your speech is going to be the ask. People say, what is the ask? Okay. The ask is one of the most important elements of your speech. Voters are looking for leadership. Have a clear and direct ask for your constituents. Never leave without asking for something, or you wasted your time. Why are you here? What do you want from me? First, when you introduce yourself, you might just ask them for your support. Well, what is support, right? It could be money, it could be time, volunteer, something. You need to ask for something. And they may say no, but you're looking for the yeses, okay? But you always ask for something and be direct with your ask. And we'll talk about that more when we talk about asking for money. But anyway, so once you write your speech, you're going to have to trim it down. Now, there's 2 speeches you have to have. The 30 to 60-second stomp speech that you would use on the door or on the phone when you're talking to somebody asking for money. And then you need your 3 to 6 minute speech. Now, what is that speech for? This is your speech when you're at a convention, a meeting, a town hall. You're at a church. Because the pastor ain't going to give you but 3 minutes. If that. And the last 30 seconds will be thanking the church.
That's so right.
Okay. All right. You start with the pastor, thank his wife, and get on out. Right. So you got to get it in, get it out, and the pastor will cut you off. Okay. I know. We'll talk about that a little bit. But it's like that with most folks. You must have the program, be respectful of time, and you have to know what you're talking about when you got that 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I told you that last 30 for the church. Okay. All right. So the book talks about that. So any really quick questions on developing your speech? Any questions? Anything?
I have a question. Not so much in developing the speech, but when you get to those doors, I'm sure you had to prepare yourself for the no's. Do you find that people are generally receptive, even if they're not of your party, or do you get the rude door slams?
Okay, so we jumping ahead a little bit, but we'll go ahead and go there. So let's go there. Let's answer the question. So Virginia has a program called VAN, Voter Access Network. Okay, I can tell you how many times you voted, when you voted, right? I know that you're a Democrat before I get there. Okay, I have all the information. You have to pay for this information. Okay, so I already know when I get there who you are, how old you are, how many people live in the house. They sell this information, and you have to pay for it to get access to it. Okay.
Wow.
So to that note, here is what we're going to talk about later. This right here is called a turf. Okay, people have a little map on it right here. This is a map of voters in, let's say, Widewater, Turf 7, 36 people, 22 doors. All right. Now on the next page, I'll show you here. But what do we have here? We got the light is bad. You can't see, but you can see it up here. It's gonna have. Let's see. The first person, but the last name is Jackson. Has that first and last name. It says SD, which means strong dim. Says she's 59 years old and a female. It has her address and her home phone number. And I know she's a Democrat because she voted the last 10 years as a Democrat since she lived there. And you have all that information. You can break this information down by race, gender, everything. Everything. We have it. We know who you are before we get there. So when you go there, you can say, hey, can I speak to, hello, is Carl home? Mr. Armstrong home? You know, but like, well, how do you know my name? Because I got the list, sir.
Oh my goodness.
What I don't have is a picture of you. I don't know what you look like. I don't know, but I do know, you know, that information that I told you, and you can get more detail. So,
wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they have it. Intellectual property is the most important commodity that's out there, and they've been hoarding this stuff for years, and now they make you pay for it. Yeah. Any more questions? Any more questions? Did I answer your question, sir?
You did.
Okay.
You did.
All right. Well, being there's no more questions, let's go on to chapter 5, identifying your base. So, what is your base? Okay. The term base refers to targeted voters and groups who support you because you are affiliated with them through party, religion, race, gender identity, or sexual preference. These voters may support you because you are from the business community, or you might be part of a union. Your base will vote for you no matter what because they're just like you. These are your people. So for me, I'm African American, so more Black Americans may tend to vote for me. I'm a veteran, so veterans are part of my base. Hey, I'm a vet. People love vets. I'm a parent of a child with special needs, so special needs parents will flock to me because they know I'm going to represent them. I'm also in the labor union. We fight for $15 an hour. I believe in it. Labor unions have made this world better, and we're going to keep pushing for sick leave and stuff like that. So people in labor unions are going to support me. So this is your base. You know, if you're a Christian, okay, Christians, they're behind you. You know, so that's your base. These are people. This is where you start. So no matter what, if you don't get but one vote, you can get that one from your wife, Carl.
That's right.
All right. So that's important. Also in the chapter, we talk about neglected bases. Okay, it's very important. So I'm going to read a little bit of this. In America, residents of color are lumped together into categories, and they are unrepresented due to the lack of care of individual subsets. What do I mean by this? Prince William County is a majority minority place. So what does that mean? We have a lot of people here from Sierra Leone, Ghana, Liberia, and they are not descendants of slaves. They're not, right? Black, my separation is Black Americans from African Americans, right? The difference is Black Americans are from forefathers who were brought to this country. African Americans bring their culture and things from here in separation. But when you check that census block, it just say Black, okay? And I don't care if you're African or Black American, the police treat you the same. They don't care. But when we're talking about politics now, Black Americans have different issues than African Americans. African Americans have immigration issues. They have different subsets. But when you lump them all in together, there's an underrepresentation. Same goes for children and adults with special needs, because listen, y'all know special needs folks. Don't matter if you're Black, white, gay, straight. If you have a special need, you're discriminated against. The government looks at you last. They get last, not first, last. So that's a little crossover there. So these are some people that you need to target. These people that are going to come out that have been disenfranchised for many, many years, mainly people of color. Uh, so I talk a little bit about that in neglected basis. Um, moreover, in 2018, when I wrote this book, the Democratic National Committee spent millions of dollars to target minorities and people who won't being talked to gin up for the election. Uh, because, of course, Obama skyrocket numbers you never seen for people coming out. And it was an anomaly because people just came out for him and not for themselves. And that's how, Mr. 45 got in there. But yeah, so now we talked a little bit about determining your base. So let's talk about the opposite side. It's important for you to know your base so you know who's not your base. Okay? All right? That's more important because these people, no matter what, they're not going to vote for you. Don't waste your time trying to bring them over, whatever. They don't care who you are. They hate you because you're a Democrat, or they hate you because you're black, or they don't agree with your issue. If you're pro-choice or not, oh no, everything else would be great, but this one issue, I'm not gonna support them. And I'm just like, okay. An example of this, if you're a pro-gun owner and a supporter of a law enforcement officer, you might have least in common with groups like Black Lives Matter, which is pretty sad, but it shouldn't be that way. But this is just an example. So it's important to know who's not in your group so you can get your target audience and spend your time with people who support you. Now, with that said, you're still going to, when you win, you're still going to support these people who were against you because that's your job. You're not there just for your constituencies, everybody. But of course, when some people get in office, they only serve themselves and the people that put them in and forget about the other folks. And that's why we have these issues. But that's another class for another day. All right. So that's all I have on determining your base. Any questions on determining your base?
Not at all. But it sounds to me, you just said something that, of course, I'm thinking during the campaign, of course, you're going to target those who are most likely to vote for you. But it sounds like, after the election and you're in office, now you're more representative of the population as a whole. Am I at least close?
Right, because they're gonna come to you. Those people who voted against you, you represent them now, and they still have issues. But here's the thing: there's only one route one. Okay, we go to the same target. We go to the same schools. Some of us go to the same churches.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We eat the same restaurants. There's no Democrat restaurant or no, you know what I mean?
Right.
At Wawa for the next person or anybody else. There's no, I walk around with this badge, so don't play the game. Okay? Some people play that game. Don't play that game. Come on.
Right.
But do remember this. There's only one government. And I say this because this is important. Some people don't know this. On the ballot, if you're running for state or higher, you get a D or an R by your name to let people know who you are. But if you're running for a local office, you don't get a D or an R. So people don't know. Okay? That's number one. And number two, a Democrat in the state of Virginia can vote for a Republican and vice versa, even in a primary.
Okay.
Certain states, you have to register as a party, but Virginia is not one. What does that mean? Why does that matter? That means that during a primary, if someone wanted to take me out in the primary, Republicans could vote for the person that they can beat because they can't. I can't beat him, but I can beat the other guy. Let me use my votes in the Democratic primary, which is legal, to vote for the other person instead of me, and they're not even Democrats. They should not have. It shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't be able to influence the party if you're not part of the party. Why are you part of their process? But that's that trickery. That's that disenfranchisement. That's okay. Well, that's that suppression that we're talking about. Another class for another day.
So I can go to the precinct and ask for The
Republicans ballot. Yes.
okay, wow.
Right. Right. Because see, when you go up there, they ask for your ID to see you're a registered voter. They don't say a registered Democratic voter or Republican or independent. Oh no. Uh, but yeah. Okay. So that's something. All right. So we're gonna go on to chapter 6. We got 2 more chapters. We'll be done and we'll wrap this thing up. Chapter 6: local parties. Now, in this chapter, we're going to talk about what your local party can do for you. Uh, every town locality has a local Democratic Party. Some are better than others. In Prince William County, when I joined the local Dems, it was small. It was probably less than 100 folks in 2015. After Trump, of course, we doubled, tripled in size. People came up and more people ran for office, but we had to start. In the local party, these are the people who support you. These are people that help you fundraise, volunteer for you. These are your people who help register. And in this, in your local party, you can have we call committees and subcommittees, where you can come up with issues and solutions for your problems that you can give to the people you nominate to run for that office. And you can also, come up with your agenda after the win to hold them accountable.
Joshua, yes. Pam, she wants to know if you can say again about voting across party line when we're talking about those primaries.
Oh, absolutely. A Democrat can vote for a Republican. Republican can vote for a Democrat. I've done it myself just to see if I could, and I can. When I went in there, I guess there's the not the registrar, but the poll worker was like, "You do know." She said it 3 times. She said, "You do know this is a Republican primary ticket." I was like, "Yes, I know." My voter record, you'll see Democrat primary, and you see this one time I voted for Republican just for this reason, to say yes, it is true that a Democrat can vote for Republican or vote. So I'm not saying to disregard Republicans because they do cross the line, and some have, but I will say that your time is better spent talking to people who's going to vote for you. Because I'm going to tell you something. We'll talk about this in chapter 8. You'll go knock on a person's door that says LD, that says lean them, which means they might vote both ways. These Republicans, they will talk to you at the door. They'll give you a conversation. They'll waste your time. I had one guy trying to talk to me for so I try to stay at a door no more than 60 seconds. If I do get a good conversation, which is great, I might stay 3 minutes. They try to invite you in the house. They want to waste your time because more time you spend with them, that's the less time you're talking to a voter, right? It's a strategy. Okay, don't let them waste your time. You got to go. You go in, you get out. We'll talk about it later in chapter 8. But yes. All right. So back to your local parties. Your local party can also help you build your team. You have to build a campaign team. You can't do this by yourself. Now, I told you in the earlier chapter, you have to pick a treasurer. So it's your first person. It could be a spouse, a friend, or somebody. It can be your treasurer, right? But you also have to get other people. The first person that I would hire in most cases would be a finance director. This person is going to help you with what we call call time when you go and raise money, and help you organize your fundraisers and stuff because everything costs money. We're going to talk about money tonight briefly. And these are paid positions, right? These people get W-2s. Example, my last race, I raised 130 something thousand. And you can see, and we'll talk about that later, you can see how much money I raised and where it went and everything. We'll talk about that later. Next person you'll hire is your campaign manager who's going to manage everything. Later in your race, you're going to get a field director who's going to try to get your message out through a direct voter contact. All right. These are the people that's going to help with organize your door knockers, your phone bankers, voter registration, and the most importantly, get out the vote efforts. Another part, a very important part of your team is going to be a mail firm. Now, let's talk a little bit about mail really quick. Well, a mail firm, they're going to print all your printed materials, like these flyers and stuff like this that go out in the mail that cost and those and these, which I call walk cards. These are things that you will find in your door, folded. Sorry I missed you will be written on this, whatever. So let's talk a little about your mail firm. All mail firms are not created equal, so you will talk to them, you will interview. I would suggest at least 3, and you would tell them that, hey, you tell them your vision and see what they're going to do, and how they can help you see their vision. And you will hire a firm. Now, this mail card here, you're not going to order just one, of course. You got to determine how many do you need, and that depends on what office you're running for. You're running for a local office or a countywide office. It depends on how many of these you're going to need. Well, let's just say you're running for, I don't know, soil and water or county board of supervisors. They can tell you how many registered voters are there, how many people that they're going to vote, and they're going to say, well, this is how many of these that you need. So let's just say you're going to start with 1,600, right? I would start with like 1,600. So you order this. So that's going to be about $5,000. They're going to send you a box of these. You're going to go out, and your mission is to get rid of this stuff. You don't need it in your house. You need stuff out on the doors. Okay, you want to get rid of all the stuff. And when you start running low, you order more. But don't order too much too fast, because you're not going to be knocking all these doors, because you need the next part of your team, your volunteers. Your volunteers are the heartbeat of your campaign. You cannot do it without your volunteers. You need them. They do all your daily tasks. They help you out. They support you. But you got to support them. Some positions later, like we had paid volunteers that came out to knock doors, but we had regular volunteers that phone bank and help out. But I take care of my volunteers. I give y'all snacks. I bring y'all food. You got to take care of those folks, because they're tired. They're working just as hard as you are, right? So I just want to take a brief second and go back through a moment in history for me. 2015, I did not feel like a candidate until I saw my first mailer go out, okay? And I'm going to show you said mailer. This is my first mailer here, all right? Got a picture of me in my uniform here. Open it up. Now, the story is the mail firm told me that it was coming in the mail tomorrow. So I got up in the morning, because I guess it came that night and I didn't check. I got up the morning before work. I went to the mailbox, I opened the mailbox, and there I was in the mailbox. And it didn't just come to me, it went to my whole district. And that's when I really felt like, man, this is real. Like, I'm in the mailbox. So this is amazing. Right? It was just like when I wrote this book. This book is weather, okay? But look what this book says right here. It says proof. When anybody who wrote a book, they know they send you the proof first before you print. And when this came in the mail, I was like, man, this is real now. So that's when I felt that like, wow. And once you get in the mailbox, people they remember you, they see you. I'll tell you one more quick story about the mailbox. I'm out knocking doors. Me and one of my volunteers, a part of my campaign manager, I think at the time, we're walking. It's about 5 p.m. Guy's coming home, checking his mailbox. He opens up the mailbox, and I'm walking past. He pulls out a piece of mail with my face on it. He looks at me. He looks at the mail. He looks at me. He looks at the mail. He's like, "That's you?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." And it was crazy, It was that like, man, this is really working. Like, people will recognize you. So, when my son just walked in here, you need something? Oh, I was looking for some pencils. Okay, well, here's some pencils here. Excuse me. Get your pencil. All right.
Your daddy 24/7.
Absolutely. I'll see you in a little bit.
He's a superstar.
Yeah. Since he walked in, and I have always done this because politics is a family affair. My wife and kids, they were in strollers. We was going around knocking doors together. And now my kids, they'll knock on your door and they'll say, "Hey, will you vote for my daddy?" And because they go to school and they're on the mail, so their friends in school know who they are. They might not know all the school, but the district know who they are. So they're like, hey, isn't your dad? I saw you in the mailbox, because the kids like, oh, there's Candace. Oh, there's, whatever. So they're like, oh, so what do the kids do? They go to their parents and say, hey, y'all gonna vote? That the kids are lit. I'm telling you, kids are very intuitive. And they talk about it,
Campaigning
So
right with you.
absolutely. So we keep them involved. You got to keep it going, because another thing about time when running, I'm missing a lot of time with them. I'm working, I'm running, I'm doing meetings, meet and greets, fundraisers. I'm traveling to and fro. Where's my family and all this? I could not have done this without my wife supporting me. And that's why I was so glad when she ran, I could finally give back to her what she gave to me, that time. Because if you're a single person, yeah, but if you got a family, someone has to be there, and the kids cannot suffer. Family got to eat. So I might come home late, but I'm gonna bring something with me. Don't go home empty-handed, okay? Don't forget birthdays, and I still did field trips. You got to incorporate your family, bring them with you. I'll go to a political meeting and bring my kids with them. So there's two things: one, they're learning young; two, that you still spending time with them, and they're learning something they're not getting in school. Okay, firsthand. These are memories. So, all right, now, where was I? We were back here. Oh, any questions while I'm going through this? Any questions? Let me know. Any questions? I'm trying to get through this.
None so far.
All right, went through the base, went through your party. So yeah, take care of your volunteers, get your team together, because now it's time to get to work. Now, 2 more chapters and we're done. Chapter 7, fundraising. Now, this is the part that people they just get scared. They don't know what to do, how to do. All right, so let's go through this real quick. You're gonna need a budget. Okay, what's your budget gonna consist of? And you're gonna get that budget. It's gonna be made by your campaign manager, your team. So general budget, you're gonna look at a couple things. Direct mail. So how many mailers like these you're gonna mail out? Each mailer, depending on your district. For countywide, there were like 13,000 to send one mailer out to all of the voters. If it's a House of Delegates, it could be 3,000 to 5,000 per piece. So you got to decide how many you want to do. And your team will let you know that. So let's say you did 6 pieces at 5,000, 6 times 5, 30,000. Simple math. Digital ads, right? How much you want to spend on digital ads, social media stuff. Walklet. So we're talking about these cards. Your initial, you probably paid 5,000, 6,000 to get these. And then your staff. You got to pay staff. Campaign manager is not cheap. You're talking about, you get what you pay for sometime. Okay. It could be 4,000 to 6,000 for a campaign manager, and that's every month. Field director could be 3 or 4. Field director could be another 3, and that's every month that you have them. So you have to be raising that money, and so let's talk about how to get some of that money. You have to track those expenditures. Let's talk about the money real quick. When you do get the money, and we'll talk about how to get it. You can't spend the money on your Lex or get you some car. There are campaign finance laws. There are rules. Okay, you can go on right now. It's called VPAP, VPAP, Virginia Project Access something. Anyway, I'll give it to you later, and it's in the book. Right now, you can type in my name, and you can see every election I was in, how much money I raised, who gave to me. So if you donate $100 or more, your name will be listed, because when you donate, you have to get certain information to enter it into the computer, because that's the law. So and that information will be your name, your address, your occupation, okay, and how much you did and when. So it's going to be listed. So when people come to you and say, well, how come you don't have enough campaign signs? I say, well, why didn't you donate? I don't see your name on the list, and I checked it twice. Okay. Well, why don't you have this? Why don't you have that? Well, why didn't you donate? I need help. I came to you and you didn't, and I complaining why you didn't get what you needed. And I didn't win because you didn't support me. So, when I call, you know why I'm calling. And I don't care if for Prince William County Sheriff, I had 55,000 votes. If every person who voted for me gave me $1, how much money is that?
$55,000.
All right. Everybody vote, give me $1. If that is the least you give them, it adds up. For a House delegate race, 11,000, 15,000 folks. It looked like pennies, but it adds up. Community.
But Josh, I'm gonna tell you something. For many people, including myself, this is the first time they've had a breakdown of what campaign contributions are used for. Mm-hmm. And we talking about on a local level. And I imagine those expenditures are going to be much higher for state and national office.
Millions.
And so a lot of people, they'll give if they understand. So this is a lesson for me. Of course, I'm not going to call names, but it's some folks I want to see get elected. I give, right. but I never really had an inside understanding of how that money is broken down. Now, for me, when I get those calls, I probably will do a better job of giving, because now I have an understanding of what those funds are used for. So thank you for that. You just schooled me.
Absolutely. So let's talk a minute about another expenditure, which people say it doesn't generate a vote, because you're going to spend your time and money on voters and things that bring in votes. So let's give an example of an expenditure that may or may not work. This is called a campaign sign. Okay. I didn't have lots of campaign signs for my race the last time I ran. People complaining on the west side of town, they don't have it. I said, well, the west side of town, they give me the money. So if we can give me some money, I'll put some signs over there. But it's not there. But there was somebody on the west side that said, hey, I need signs, and I'll give you. He gave me money. So I bought my big signs, and he paid for them. Okay. So when someone gives me money directly, I told my team, I'm going to give them what they paid for. Okay. When you vote for somebody, and my return to you is getting you what you paid for. Okay. I'm gonna represent you. So when they call you, we need it. Okay. Some of us, especially Black candidates, we don't get the money that our counterparts get. And let me give you an example. Let's say I call you and I ask you for $2,000. And you say, no, I'll give you 1,000, half of that. But a person that looks different from me calls you, and you give them on the same ballot. We're talking about Democrats. They ask you for 2, and you give them 2,000, and you gave me 1. You gave them 1,000, but you gave me 5. I'm always undercutting. Well, at the end of the day, they got $300,000, $400,000. And I only have 134. Like, well, how did that happen? You're not working hard enough, is what people will say to you. I'm like, no, they don't give at the same rate. And I don't want to knock on the African American community, because a lot of people don't know, but you got to put your money where your mouth is. I know that I'm a Black candidate. I know I'm looked at differently, and I know it's hard to raise money, especially if you don't come from wealth, and I do not. And I'm proud to say where I come from. Okay. Proud. And there are those who don't believe in you. And there was said to me, do you know the magnitude of what you're doing? Of course I do. But why are you to challenge, that? Or I'm not good enough, or I'm not qualified. I'm like, last I checked, I met all the qualifications on the candidate bulletin. So don't think you have to be some college educated person, or you gotta have this and that. As long as you 21, no felonies, it can put your name on the ballot, you can run. Okay, don't let them tell you have to have this, or you have to go to Emerge or some other. You don't need all that.
This is good information. This is so good. And you just said something that I'm going to repeat for you. Support your candidate, not only with your time and your volunteerism. We must give money. Put your money where your mouth is. Absolutely. Now we can have an understanding of where that money goes. They need literature. They need advertisement. Hey, listen, when he's bringing those volunteers some goodies and some meals, that money had to come from somewhere. So thank you for this, Josh, because You're really schooling us. And I really appreciate it. Pastor Gary Holland says, where do I sign up?
All right. Well, the thing about politics is always going for me. Of course, I'm running again in a few years. But my wife is running right now. All right, candymoney.com. Going up there, get in there. But yeah, and we support each other, but definitely keep it going and don't give up. Your candidate didn't win. Trust me, when I lost that sheriff race, I went to Walmart. People like, man, we almost got it. We're going to get it next time. You walking in the gas station, you're out there, people recognize you because they done been looking at you all year in the mailbox, So I walk in there with pride and people excited and ready to go again. So don't be discouraged. When you run your race, run your race. Don't worry about your opponent. Don't worry about losing or winning. Just do it. Get it done. Get the message out. Because I'm going to tell you something about my race. I may have lost my race, but one of my issues was a immigration issue called 287G that people probably don't know about, that we had this policy, not a law, a policy that allowed local law enforcement officers to act as ICE agents and detain immigrants and ship them to ICE. Not a law, a policy. And I fought that policy tooth and nail. And even though I lost, that policy was overturned. Facts.
And we appreciate it too.
Right. Because again, I told you, they aim it at Hispanics. But I just told you that especially Prince William County, you got people from Sierra Leone, Ghana, you got people from Pakistan, lots of Muslim communities. It's not just one. They might color it one way, but trust me, it's a lot more. All right, so let's get on because I know we're running on time. I want to keep y'all too late. Preparing for fundraising. You're going to collect I would say Democrats use a program called Act Blue. It is a place where you will donate, a place, not the place, but a place where you will donate money on an Act Blue site. You will go on to Act Blue, find their name, type their name in. You can type my name in right now if you want to give, and you'll see my name, and you click up there, fill out information, and you give. That Act Blue will then take that money, ship it to my PO box, and I will cash it in my check. I will cash the check and get the money. So that's how that works. You can also write checks to the candidate, and they'll give you the information. It'll be on their websites for that. So donors, we make what we call donor lists. So where do you get these donor lists from? Remember, I told you go on to VPAP. You go on VPAP right now. You can see everybody who ever donated to me is there from 2015 till today. So anybody who's ever donated to me, guess who I'm calling first? Them. People who know me, who support me. But for everybody else that I don't know, I'm going to have a list of them too, and I'm going to call them, and this is called a cold call. They don't know who I am. But I call it, and that's where that 30-second stump speech come in, okay? It all come back. You call them, they're like, who is I don't know who you are, because when I call certain people, they know my voice. They've heard from me. They give to me. They're excited to give. These people that you call for call time, they know why you're calling. If you are a political donor, you get hundreds of calls. That's why a lot of people don't want to give more than $100. You get 99, you might not get on the list. You give 100, you're on that list, and people sell what I say, intellectual property. That list. Okay, I have an email list of 10,000 folks because people send you emails that you will get, and you donate that way. And people sell those lists. People trade lists and whatnot. You're going to do what we call candidate donor research. You look at the last person who held that office, see who gave to them, and call them and get that money. You can also get money from organizations. Now, we went to people. We're going to organizations really quick. So on page 44 of my book, we had some of my top donors in 2017. The Democratic Party of Virginia gave me $78,000. My local union, I'm a union guy, SEIU Virginia 512. They gave me 69 grand. The House Democratic Caucus gave me 22 grand. Prince William Federation of Teachers gave me 9,000. Another labor union gave me 8,000. Another union gave me 8,000. Individual donor, I think she owns the Washington Mystics, gave me 7,000. And the list goes on. So you can get what we call PAC money, okay? Political Action Committee. Now, this is something I'm going to tell y'all out there what y'all can do. Let's say you want to get a pool of people to work together. You want to start Carlsconversations PAC. You register this PAC, you raise money for your PAC, and your PAC decides that they want to give that PAC money to a candidate. Carlsconversations made his own PAC, registered with the state, and now you are what I call a political pawn. You have been put on the chessboard, and you have power in the PAC because your PAC comes with not just money but volunteers. You get a whole PAC together of people, and this political action committee, aka PAC, will donate to the candidate that fights for them. So let me give you a quick example. It's me and another candidate. It could be me and a Democrat or me and a Republican, don't matter. We come to Carl PAC and we say, hey, we want to apply for your PAC. You're going to make me fill out an endorsement form for you to endorse. And I'm going to ask you what's coming with your endorsement. You're going to say money, bodies to volunteer, not stores or whatever. And I'm like, okay, but how do I get it? I'm going to fill out your questionnaire and you're going to ask me, do I believe in what you believe in? And if I say yes, and you listen to me and you interview both of us, you're going to decide which one of us deserves it the most. And you're going to put your money where your mouth is. So that's how those PACs work. Okay. Anybody can make a PAC. And that's how that works. So any questions about what I just said? It's very important.
Not yet.
Okay, all right. Let's keep it moving. When we talk about endorsements, I just talked to you about the endorsement process, how it works. You're going to ask for endorsements from local politicians, church leaders, community leaders, labor unions, or whatnot. For me, I had a list of my endorsements here. Some people will put their names and faces on your mail. Some people will pay for mail for you. So endorsements do have some impact. But remember, some endorsements that are outside of your district, they can give you money, but they can't give you votes. Okay? They can't give you votes. So don't be too caught up in this person got 10 endorsements, the other one don't. But does those endorsements come with money, people, and can those people vote for you? Because the only people that can put you in is the same people that can take you out. And some of these endorsements does not do that. So we'll move on. We talked a little bit about call time really quick. Call time is when you call a voter, you ask them for money. It's just like going to the door, but you're on the phone. You ask them for the time, use a stump speech, and you ask them for the money at the end. Some people say yes, some people say no. You'll give them instructions. Take the money over the phone, or you'll email them something, and then they can pay that way, or they'll send you a check. So that's call time really quick. Fundraising events. Really quick, your campaign finance director help you do the fundraising events, or people in your local party. Somebody can lend you their house, throw the party. They'll pay. You don't pay. The person will pay for you. Get the food, get the folks, and you get the flyer out. And you can go there and have your what we call meet and greet when they get to meet the candidate and talk. Nowadays, we do that via Zoom. Right. And while you're there, you'll bring what we call a candidate contribution form. It's a form they can give you. Somebody can give you cash, but you got to write it down, get their information, because you can put that in the computer because you have to list all money. All right. Now we are in the last part. Chapter 8.
One second. There's a question about PACs. Pastor Holland asks, politicians get in trouble with PACs, don't they? The sense of obligation to them when the politician is led to vote away the PAC doesn't agree to on legislation.
All right, let's see. Let me break this down. Politicians. So here's the first part of that. There are always at least two sides to an issue, right? Let's just say your NRA. It's a PAC. NRA is a PAC. Don't get it twisted. It's a PAC. They give money to candidates. And I proudly got an F because they send forms out and they grade you. And I got an F because I would not take their money. Another example is energy. If you take money from Dominion, some people say, I don't like coal. I want clean energy. I won't take money from them, right? So there's two sides to every coin. So if you're like Planned Parenthood, take money from them, you believe in women's right to choose, right? These are all PACs, all right? There's two sides to the coins. This is no getting in trouble. The problem is when you have these legal PACs where, well, on the state level, there is unlimited amount of money that I can receive from an individual or corporation. Not only can you get money from Virginians, I got money from across the United States. Okay, I hit Democrats up in New York, everywhere. But when you talk about federal offices, okay, they can only take but so much from a person, 5,000 from a PAC and 1,000 from a person or something like that. There's finance law on them. So those people, they get in trouble with these PACs because these people try to have these shell PACs and move money around to hide. Because you have to report. Thank God for finance law to disclose where this money coming from. Because people make these PACs and you're like, well, where's this PAC? Well, who is Conversational Carl? PAC. Where's that from? And people research that and they don't know. But what they find out that it was some wealthy folks that gave money and disguised it a certain way so their name won't be on it, and they do it that way. So that's kind of how those things work. The beautiful part about the PAC is that you have galvanized people, volunteers. You have taken your power back, and you are telling politicians, you will fight for my vote. You will fight for my money. Everybody don't have money to give, but if everybody gave $5, that adds up. Some PACs only give out 500. Hey, that's 500 more than I have. That's a pack of signs or paper or feeding some volunteers. Hey, it don't have to be big, but everything counts. Every dollar counts. And those PACs are needed. And that's how they galvanize power.
You just answer the question. This is what people mean when they say politicians are bought and paid for. You're trying to figure out why your politician won't speak up. And we're seeing some of that now for something that is obviously wrong, obviously off. Well, they took the money, right? And they told these people, I'm going to vote this way. And we look at them like, we don't understand. This is, a blind man can see this. Well, they bought and paid for.
Yeah.
And people want what they paid for.
Yeah, exactly. You get what you pay for. So if a labor union, which I'm a labor union member, gave me 80 grand and say that I will fight for 15, I'm not, as a person, going to say something I'm not going to do. I was going to do that anyway. So, hey, I'm with it. So, but that works both ways now. Both ways. Now, just to talk, and I will squeeze this in somewhere. There's two things I want y'all to look at after y'all leave at your leisure. One of them is called Prince. We're talking about Machiavelli on YouTube. You can watch Prince Machiavelli, and he will talk about gaining power, how to keep power. And this goes to the conversation about these PACs and how politicians are bought and made. So this will give you an insight on things I've learned. And you can I will watch the cartoon version. It's probably like 30 or 40 minutes, but it shows you animated where politics, how it happens, how you gain power, how you lose it. And another very important video I want you guys to watch, 48 Laws of Power. 48, and watch the animated one. It'll show you the rules of the game. People live by these. They live by these rules, and they guide by them. Hold on 1 second. You need something?
Yeah, stuff to take it back.
Go pick it out.
He's gonna be a star.
I'm almost done.
He's a future star.
I'm in his room. I was trying to hide away from me. Sorry about that.
All is well.
But these are two videos that will give you insight on what happens, and I'll give you quick insight on a political call. Okay, if somebody calls me tonight, calls me right now, they're not my friend. They're a politician. It always goes this way. They call you. They make some rapport with you. I know what they want. I try to get cut right to it. How can I help you? What do you want? Because they always want something. It's a give and take. It's this political capital that you're burning. Every time you ask for a favor, you have to give something. And if you're giving more than you're receiving, then you're losing, because this capital is moved back and forth. So you have to learn the rules of the game. When somebody calls you and they ask you to endorse them, as an example. I want Carl's endorsement. But then Carl find out that I'm for all this crazy stuff, but you didn't already endorse me now. Now you got to ride that horse. Right, so you got to investigate these folks before you put your money, because you got to make sure you do your due diligence. So any more questions? I'm gonna go into the last chapter. We'll wrap this up.
We're good to go.
Right. Last chapter. Chapter 8. Making it happen. This is putting it all together. Okay. We already talked about building your team. We talked about what you have to do to get there, how to raise the money. We talked about the turf. How you got to get the turf cut, which means your field director, his job or her job is going to be to cut you some turf. I showed you earlier that the turf is going to be this package right here. When you volunteer for a candidate, they're going to give you something like this. It's a map of turf. Turf is a cut of a map that has a list of Democrats or Republicans that you're going to talk to. It's going to be a map. It's going to have all the information that you need here. And on the back, it's going to have a folder, a pen, and inside said folder is going to be a piece of lead. Okay? This is what you're going to take it to the doors. Okay, you're going to take that to the doors, put those in the doors. You cannot put these political things inside someone's mailbox against the law. Okay, it has to go in the door, under the mat, somewhere in the door. So that's what you're going to be doing. You're also going to have people phone banking. Phone banking is simply, you're going to get a list just like that turf pack. It has numbers on it. So you can do this from home. They can do it digitally on the computer. You get this turf pack. And you go down the list and you're going to call these folks. You're going to have a strip that we're going to give to you. You're going to read the script. Hey, my name is Josh. I'm calling here on behalf of the Democratic Party. I wanted to ask, can you support whatever candidate? Can you help them out, volunteer, whatever? So you have people who can't knock doors, can phone bank. So everybody can do something. Everybody can do something. You can phone bank. We have people phone banking from different states. Okay, it's something. It's over the phone. Come on now. You can get it done. You got your mail firm, you got all that stuff. Let's go on to, we talked about events. All right. So 2 events you're going to have. You're going to have your events and events that you go to. Try to stay to events that are in your district, okay, because those are people you can talk to. When you go to someone else's event, another candidate that you're on the same ballot, you're going there, you make sure that when you go there, you're going to get some time to talk. Maybe get 2 or 3 minute speech, but you got to make sure that those people there can vote for you. And if they can't vote for you, you tell them you can. So I'll go to a church and I'll say, listen, some of y'all can't vote for me, but you know somebody who can. Okay. And all y'all can give money. So like I said, make your ask. Okay. If they don't give you the time, don't waste yours. So you're going to have a couple of events to raise money, to raise awareness, to do all that stuff. So you have to schedule those with your finance director. In the book, I have a schedule of events. So it will be all the deadlines. You need to know all your deadlines. You need to know the first day you can file petitions for qualified voters, January 1st. You need to know the last day you can file to get on the ballot for the primary is in March. You need to know that the June primary date for governor and all these races that we're having is going to be June 8th. You need to know that on November 2nd, which now in Virginia is a holiday. Thank God for election day on a holiday, so we can have people actually come out and vote and not have to worry about, especially federal government, people voting. But those dates are all posted, so you need to know those dates. And that's in the book too. You'll see that. Now, on the book, I did for your benefit, I put a day-to-day schedule in the book for what your day will look like. We're almost done. We're almost done, guys. I got a Monday through Friday. I got a Saturday and a Sunday. So let me go through it really quick. Monday, I say you get up, you do your breakfast. You prep for your call time between 8:30 and 9. You do your call time from 9 to 12. Call time, you're raising money all day during the day. Take you like an hour lunch. Relax, get refreshed. From 1:30 to 3, you're going to keep grinding out those calls to raise that money. And from 3:30 to 4, you're going to stop fundraising and start vote raising. You're going to get up, you're going to drive to your first turf, and you're going to knock doors until the sun goes down. That is your schedule every day. Rinse and repeat. That simple. That's it. It is it's a marathon. Okay? It's a marathon. That's what you do. Same thing every day. That's Monday through Friday. Saturdays. Okay? you do a canvas launch. Canvas launch. That means you get all your volunteers together, you do your little speech, you hand out all the turf packets, and other people. So the first time during the week, that's you that's doing that knocking. On the weekend, you're leading your troops, and y'all are doing it together. All right, y'all going out there. So you go out there, you do your canvas launch at 10. Don't waste time there. Get those people on the doors. They knock their doors. Take a break, 1:30, finish knocking doors till the sun goes down. Saturday. That's it. Sunday. Oh, where are most people at on Sundays? Well, nowadays they're in digital church, but they're still in church. But Sundays, when we're not in COVID, you're going to try to hit 3 services on Sunday. 3 services on Sunday. They got an 8 o'clock. I'm at the 8 o'clock, the 10:30, and 11:30. All right. You're going to go in there. But how do you get in the church? All churches, I'm going to spend just a little time on churches. All churches are not created equal. Some churches allow you to speak, and you need to know the rules of that church. Some churches want you to come. They VIP you. They tell you they have a person waiting for you, tell you where to park. They give you all this information. The first step in the church is A, you call the church. B, you talk to that clerk because she's gonna be there. He or she's gonna be there, right? Hey, my name is this. I'm running for this. I want to come on this day. Can you reach out to the pastor? Let them know. Pastor get back, say yes. Then she gonna let you know the lay of the land. You got to sit here. You got 3 minutes. And don't forget to say hi to the pastor's wife. And some pastors want to speak to you before you speak because they don't know you. They want to make sure before they let you go in front of their congregation that you're good to go. So what I do is I send them an email with my information and give them one of these so they know who I am. So when they get up in front of the pulpit, they can say, hey, they can say a little bit, this guy, whatever. Now, some churches don't do that. They let you come. They might make an announcement and say, hey, Josh King's in the house in the front row, wave, and that's it. When that's fine too. But the ones that let you speak, they give you that time. And the last thing, and I'm a victim of this, some churches, they require you to stay the whole service, which is fine. But some of them, they don't mind because they know you're trying to get to another church and let you go. So respect the rules of the church. Don't leave for the offering plate. Okay, you got to at least wait for the offering plate to go by before you leave, or they're gonna talk about you. Okay. So after you finish hitting your churches in the morning, you go back after 2, and you knock doors the rest of the day, and that's it. That's all you do. Rinse and repeat. That's your schedule. That's it.
Wow. You got to be trying and keep it pumping, huh?
It's a grind. It's a grind.
Good Lord.
Okay. That's it. I talk about the primary, what you got to do. We talk about get out the vote. The get out the vote, for people who don't know, is the last 4 days before your election. The election is not one during get out the vote. It is one in preparation for get out the vote. Okay. All right. One thing I would say, first off, don't get ready, stay ready. All right. Know what you got to do. Get the information early so you can be ready. Let's just say you are running. For me, I was running for sheriff. I had 110 polling locations, which means I need at least one person to stand there for 12 hours. That's a lot. So you're going to need 3 shifts. How many people is that? It's 300 people, volunteers, just to work the polls alone. Then you got people knocking on doors, trying to get people out. People saying, hey, it's time to vote. And you got people on the phone. That's what the volunteers come in for. They get out the vote to let people know that it's there. And that's what you need volunteers for in the time. So I talk about, to get out the vote. Now, election day, you done finished everything. You done made all the calls. You stop calling people for money because you ain't getting no more. It's get out the vote. Now, only thing you're calling for what is the vote. I'm here. It's time to vote. Can I count on you? Ask them directly. You see them. Can I count on your vote? I need it. We need it. Our community needs it. And I need you. Right? You have to convince this person, because when election day, they already know who they're voting for. Now, there are some people who didn't pay attention, that didn't know. And we had a little sample for the most people who do vote. They know who they're voting for. Okay? They already know. Especially if they're Democrat, Republican, and you got a DNR by their name. Oh, come on. Don't waste your time. All right, but election day is the last day. I'm going to tell y'all this. I've been through it 3 times. I get up. I thank God I'm here. I get up in the morning because I can't sleep. I'm ready. 6 o'clock come, boom. I'm the first one in line to vote. So I can get that. And you're greeting people. You're moving around. You have fun on election day because you're not going to change anything on election day. It's already won before that day. That day is a formality. People already they got all the information, they got all the money. You just go there and vote. It's time to vote. That's it. There's nothing else to say. You're not convincing me on election day. But we do need people at the polls to give out the literature that people don't know, the sample ballots you see. Because, like I said, if you are running for state office or above, you get a DNR. But everybody else under it, cannibal supervisors, dog catcher, whatever it is, you don't get a DNR. So you don't know who these people are, and you don't know which part of it are. And the Republicans, what they do nowadays, when the last time you seen Republican on a yard sign? They don't put it. They don't even make it red. They make it green. They make it different colors. They don't want to identify that they are. And Democrats are proud to put Democrat on their stuff to let people know. So that's how you can tell somebody Democrat, because Democrats put Democrat, Republicans put nothing. If you see nothing, they're automatically Republican. Trust me. Because I saw one time one Republican made his sign blue. Okay, but he didn't put Democrat on it. But we knew. Trust me, next time you look at a sign, look at it. It'll say Democrat. If it don't say Democrat, it's Republican. Trust me. This is the mind trick, because people know, especially here in Virginia, Virginia is blue. Okay? But we still have some Republicans that win. After the election, if you win, you're going to go on and guess what? After the primary, rinse and repeat. I gave you the schedule. It don't change. Okay? But if you lose, don't give up. Help the other candidates who did win. Help the person that beat you, because you never know. That office might not have been for you. You might be running for Congress next year. You don't know. So you keep going. That's why I keep going, okay? Because my time will come. Okay, on his time, not mine. All right. So we talked about election day, and we talked about everything in the book thus far. So we have completed this session on how to run for office. Let me tell you guys really quick how to get a copy of this book. Carl, I have ordered a couple of free copies. I'm going to deliver to you and give some. So there's some people that are listening who want a free copy, they can have it. Others who want to purchase one, they are $8.99 on Amazon. The name of the book is Run, A Road Less Traveled. Josh King is my name. So you'll go on the Amazon books, type in, you can go to my author's page, Joshua King, and get a copy of this. They also have it on the ebook for $3.99. But like I said, I do have some free copies that are coming. Now, I will let you know, if you do order a book, there's an 8-day commitment. What does that mean? That means that Amazon prints the book and then they ship it. So it takes them 8 days to print it and then ship it. So it takes a little bit to get it. But once you get it, you got it. And if you do get a copy of my book, all I ask for, especially if you get a free copy, is to write a review. Because I like the feedback, and if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, let me know how I can do better, because I will be writing more books. And that's all I got for you guys. Anything for me?
This has been absolutely wonderful. I'm seeing the comments come in, and people really do believe that this has been good information. I have learned so much. I cannot wait to get my hands on those books. And I already got in mind a few people I want to give them to, but I want to tell the audience there's going to be a fewer free ones. If you want to, maybe the first 3 people that hit me up, you'll get a free book, but you got to hit me up immediately. See if you can hit me up before we get off the air to get a free copy. And for those who don't get a free copy, go to Amazon, Josh King, Run, The Road Less Traveled. Am I correct?
Yeah, A Road Less Traveled. Yes. Yeah.
Run, The Road Less Traveled.
My number's in the book. You guys have any questions, you can email me, you can call me. I love this stuff. I've helped numerous people run for office. I love it. I do it. It's my passion. And I don't charge you nothing. It is something that I think for our kids, maybe you don't want to run. Maybe your kid wants to do it one day or aspire to do so. But just having that knowledge. And I told Carl before this, knowledge is not power. It's application of knowledge. It's power. Can you run? How can you run? So look for reasons to run and stop looking for reasons not to run.
Amen. You might have got me, Josh. So don't be surprised. This was awesome. I love doing things like this because many people don't know there was a lot of things I didn't know. And so I am going to absolutely be having one of those copies for myself. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to give you a review online, and I'm going to text one to you too.
I appreciate it.
Josh, I really appreciate you spending time with us. I know you got a busy schedule. You have a wife who is an elected official, Delegate Candy King. We love some Candy King. And if you go back through Carl's Conversations, you'll see how much we love Candy King. She was right here on this platform, and we did everything we could to help put her in office. And I'm proud to lay claim to that. She's awesome. And listen, we're going to have you back. Now, Josh is the first guest on the new series on Carl's Conversations called Mancave Ministry. I'm putting together this particular series. We did something for the ladies called a Real Talk for women, and that's ongoing. But we got the Mancave Ministry. We're going to focus on some men issues and also some issues that are good for the overall community, like what we had here today. And I got a feeling that Josh is going to be back to help us with some of those men's issues, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Mr. King. You are the man. And you see what Karen Liz, she's all the way in Ohio. She said, very informative. Hey. Get them votes, Josh King.
That's it. People always tell me, they say, good luck. I say, I don't need luck. I need votes.
And look, and I'll tell the rest of it, and money.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Write that gold check.
Yes.
Well, sir, we're going to wrap up, audience. I love you. I thank God for you. You are tremendous. Thank you for your participation with your comments and your questions. And I'm very prayerful that tonight you learned something. We got to get our hands on that book. You don't have to wait for me. You can go to Amazon right now. Josh King, Run, A Road Less Traveled. So go get it today, and please make sure you write a review. Mr. King, God bless you, sir. Thank you for joining us. You taught us something tonight, and I really do appreciate it. So, audience, until next time, may God bless you and may heaven smile upon you. Bye-bye.